Coming up on Arirang News. Heavy rain with strong gusts of wind overnight in the north and central parts of the country caused flooding with landslide warnings issued. While pledging support for people suffering due to the rain, the government seeks to prepare for the heat wave that usually comes after monsoons. With just over 100 days left until U.S. presidential election day, an AP survey shows that Democratic delegates have quickly coalesced behind Harris, making her the de facto nominee for the party. In the party convention that came nearly 3 months after the ruling People Power Party's defeat in April's parliamentary election, the former interim leader Han Dong-hoon is elected as the party's new head without a runoff. Welcome to the 9 p.m. edition of Arirang News. I'm Kim Beom-soo. We begin with heavy rain that battered the country overnight. There have been power cuts and road closures in the north and central regions. In the meantime, the south is hit by a heat wave. Moon Hae-ryun has the details.
The country is divided between two extreme weather conditions. Heavy rain and winds battering the north and central regions, while a heat wave sweeps across the south. Early Tuesday morning in Gangwon-do province, 72 reports of rain damage, such as from fallen trees and drainage issues, had come in by 7:30 a.m. as areas such as Cheolwon-gun County were battered by 126 millimeters of rain. There were blackouts reported throughout the night in hundreds of houses across the province's capital, Chuncheon. While most had power restored within 3 hours, around 70 houses are still undergoing repair work. Strong winds paired with the rain have led to landslide warnings being issued across the country, with the Korea Forest Service issuing the second highest landslide warning on a 4-tier scale across the capital region, including Incheon, and the third highest across other areas. In Gyeonggi-do province, a tree falling cut off the power supply to 20 houses, and by 7 a.m. there had been 61 reports of roads being obstructed. Major roads in the province were submerged in rainwater, and 9 reports of homes being flooded came through to rescue workers. The Imjingang River, which is the 7th largest river in the country, swelled past 5 meters high. Most of the heavy rain had subsided in the afternoon, with Chamsugyo Bridge in Seoul reopened to traffic and pedestrians as of 1:30 p.m., as well as the Yeouido-Sangmu interchange area of the Olympic Daeru Highway. Rain warnings for Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces have been lifted, but the rain has left a trail of damage in its wake. According to the insurance industry, from July 6th until 9 a.m. on Tuesday, there have been more than 30,500 claims filed due to damage to vehicles. Meanwhile, South Korea's southern regions such as Gwangju and Jeju Island have been issued heatwave warnings with soaring temperatures. Heatwave warnings are issued by the Korea Meteorological Administration when feels like temperatures of more than 35 degrees Celsius are expected to persist for more than 2 days. While actual temperatures in Daegu and Jeju Island are expected to reach around 34 degrees, the humidity is making it feel even hotter. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
And for the people affected by heavy downpours, the government vowed to give out immediate support by utilizing all possible resources during an economic ministerial meeting. Our Park Gon-woo has the details of what was discussed.
At an economic ministerial meeting held on Tuesday, the South Korean government promised immediate support for residents who suffered damage from the recent heavy rain.
We share our deepest sympathies to all the residents affected by the unusually heavy rain. The government will quickly support them by utilizing all available resources for disaster countermeasures so that they can return to their daily lives.
He also requested that ministries take preemptive measures ahead of the heat wave that usually comes after the summer monsoon to manage energy supply and demand and prevent industrial disasters. Due to the unusual weather, Deputy Prime Minister Choe said food prices could possibly go back up in July. Accordingly, the government promised to release around 300 tons of Napa cabbages and radishes from their storage each day and support the reseeding of flooded crop fields to stabilize supply and demand for farm produce. The government also spoke about plans to support employment, including executing a budget of over $3.3 billion and providing subsidies for the vulnerable. It also announced plans for expanding elderly-friendly residences for the seniors. While regulations for building these senior living communities are set to be eased, more elderly residences will be provided especially for low-income groups and in places where the population is falling. Kakao, Arirang News.
Over in the U.S., Vice President Kamala Harris has hit the ground running as she seeks to face off against Republican Donald Trump in November. She has already secured enough support from Democratic delegates. Choi Min-jung tells us more.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris began the first full day of her presidential campaign on Monday afternoon by greeting campaign staff in Delaware. She expressed her intentions to earn the Democratic nomination and win the election.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election.
She also praised U.S. President Joe Biden's, quote, legacy of accomplishment that is unmatched in modern history. Biden joined Monday's event via phone. He said his decision to withdraw was hard, but added that it was the right thing to do. After she praised Biden, Harris turned her fire on election race rival Donald Trump. She said that Trump will bring America backward to a time before many fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. Speaking of her past role as California's chief prosecutor, Harris called Trump a predator and a cheater.
Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Meanwhile, Democrats are uniting behind Harris by endorsing her as the party's front-runner for the presidential nomination. They include former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and several Democratic governors. The Harris campaign claims it has pulled in roughly $81 million in donations over the span of 24 hours. According to an Associated Press survey, Harris has secured the support of enough Democratic delegates to become her party's nominee against Trump. As of Monday night, she had the support of at least 2,400 delegates, more than the 1,976 needed to ensure nomination at the August convention. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, North Korea has responded to Trump's recent comments where he boasted about his relationship with Kim Jong-un, arguing that the former U.S. president was only inflating hopes. The South Korean government says there is a political reckoning behind it. Yoon explains.
North Korea has released a commentary on former U.S. President Donald Trump's recent remarks, where he praised his relationship with Kim Jong-un. Delivered via the Korean Central News Agency on Tuesday, the commentary states that regardless of which administration is in charge, the political chaos in the United States offers no path forward and that it doesn't care about Trump's remarks. Accusing Trump of inflating hopes of improved North Korea-U.S. relations, the commentary emphasized that the future relationship between the two depends entirely on the U.S.'s actions. This response follows Trump's repeated mentions of Kim Jong-un during his acceptance speech last week as the former U.S. president formally accepted the Republican Party's nomination. During his speech, Trump emphasized that he gets along with the North's leader and the importance of getting along with someone who possesses significant nuclear capabilities. Meanwhile, South Korea's unification ministry sees North Korea's comments as cautious. A senior unification ministry official told reporters on Tuesday that the remarks appear to be an implicit call for a shift in U.S. policy towards North Korea. North Korea's commentary acknowledged Kim's friendship with Trump, but criticized him for failing to bring about meaningful change. The remarks also underscored the importance of keeping boundaries between public and private relationships. Yoon, Arirang News.
North Korea's foreign minister could be passing up on the only regional multilateral security dialogue Pyongyang regularly participates in, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Tuesday. The ASEAN Regional Forum this year is due to take place in Laos starting on Thursday, but North Korea has reportedly yet to show signs that their foreign minister will be in attendance, with Belarus's foreign minister scheduled to be in Pyongyang until Friday.
Expectations for her participation were high, with North Korea increasing its diplomatic activities and its strong relationship with Laos. Should the North's Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee be absent from the ARF, the North Korean ambassador to Laos is likely to take her place as the country's representative. South Korean actor Yu Ji-tae, currently serving as a government ambassador on North Korean human rights, spoke at an event in Washington where he urged not to turn away from the reality of the people living under the regime. Our correspondent Kim Jong-un has more.
Old boy anti-hero Yu Ji-tae said that despite the issue of North Korean human rights being painted as a political matter, it should only be about the people.
What we aim to discuss are the people within North Korea. I urge you to extend your hands to the darkest places.
Speaking at this year's International Dialogue on North Korean Human Rights in Washington, D.C., co-hosted by the National Endowment for Democracy, CSIS, and South Korea's Ministry of Unification, the actor said his focus expanded from his own life to the lives of others. Unification Minister Kim Beom-soo and U.S. Special Envoy for North Korean Human Rights, Julie Turner, also attended the event, but it was Yu who stood out the most.
As a Korean living on the Korean Peninsula, my attention naturally turned to the most marginalized people in the world, those living in North Korea. Women who escape North Korea to avoid severe human rights abuses often face even harsher violations during their escape.
He has worked on the scenario for the webtoon Ankai, meaning wife, in the North Korean dialect. The digital cartoon depicts the hardships and challenges faced by women escaping from North Korea. The actor said it took nearly 10 years for the webtoon to be completed due to interviews and research, which made him passionate about the reality of North Korean defectors.
It is not injustice itself that nurtures injustice, but our indifference. If there is injustice anywhere in this world, do not close your eyes and turn away, but take action. I hope our actions can heal the painful wounds of North Korean residents who are neglected by their own country.
He's set to speak at another session for the event on Tuesday local time. Last month, the actor said every South Korean should think about North Korean human rights at least once. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
Earlier this evening, the ruling People Power Party held its national convention in the city of Goyang near Seoul, where they announced the party's new leadership. Our political correspondent Lee Si-yu reports.
Following 4 days of voting among eligible party members and other citizens, the People Power Party on Tuesday announced the final winners of its leadership race. Han Dong-hoon has been announced as the new leader of the ruling People Power Party at its national convention, winning a majority with over 320,000 votes. Han beat 3 other candidates, winning over 62% of the total votes cast. In his acceptance speech, Han vowed the party will respond more to the public sentiment.
Let's try to respond a little more to the people and change according to their standards.
In the short term, Han is tasked with leading the PPP through its agendas at the National Assembly, despite its minority status. In the long term, he is expected to prepare the party for the local election, set to take place in June of 2026, where the PPP will aim for more regional leadership posts. Meanwhile, President Yoon Suk-yeol visited the event and delivered congratulatory words.
2024년 7월 23일 오늘 이 전당대회가 단결과 통합의 새 역사를 여는 자리로 기록될 것이라고 저는 믿습니다.
He added the future of the Conservative Party is in the hands of the party members. The PPP also announced 4 additional members to its Supreme Council. They are Kim Min-jeon, Kim Jae-won, In Yoo-han, and Jang Dong-hyuk. The party also announced Kim Jong-un as its new Youth Supreme Council member designated for those under 45. Lee Si-hu, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol agreed to visit the Czech Republic in September to discuss nuclear energy cooperation with Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala after the Czech leader selected a South Korean consortium as the preferred bidder for the Dukovany nuclear power plant. This came during a phone conversation Tuesday as the president expressed his gratitude for the selection, which marks Seoul's first export of nuclear power units in 15 years. He mentioned he dispatched a 2-member delegation to Prague earlier in the day to discuss follow-up actions. Fiala congratulated Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power on being chosen as the preferred bidder and said the new plant will be crucial for the Czech Republic's energy security and industrial competitiveness. Yoon accepted the PM's invitation to visit the Czech Republic at a convenient time in September to further discuss the project. On the prolonged medical conflict, the government has warned some medical professors against potentially boycotting training programs for future junior doctors. Patients also condemned the move. Cha Eun-kyung has more.
Health Minister Cho Kyu-hong criticized medical professors who are planning to boycott training programs for junior doctors in the second half year. The professors' move is to protest the government allowing hospitals to accept the resignations of striking trainee doctors and the medical school admissions quota increase. During a government meeting responding to the threat, Cho said it is deeply regrettable that some medical professors seem to disregard patients' anxiety and inconvenience. Cho also urged the professors to persuade striking trainee doctors to return to hospitals. Kwon Byung-gi, the essential medical support officer at the Ministry of Health and Welfare, said in a briefing the same day, professors who will not take part in education and training programs for trainee doctors are reducing the number of trainee doctors. Kwon also noted that the boycott harms trainee doctors at schools and hospitals and is against constitutional and human rights values. He lastly warned that hospitals must be fully committed to contracts and rules regarding the training of doctors, implying possible legal action against professors involved in the boycott. Health Minister Cho also said during the meeting that he will announce a detailed roadmap on medical reforms by August with revised bills and financial plans. Medical Support Officer Kwon added that the roadmap is intended to quickly normalize the training system and cover gaps in medical care for the second half of the year. Meanwhile, the Korea Federation of Severe Diseases, a patients group, also condemned Yonsei Medical School professors for participating in the boycott. The federation said such medical professors should be ashamed of their behavior and withdraw from the boycott, as ignoring the pain and lives of patients is an inhumane act. Cha Eun-kyung, Arirang News.
In other news, the founder of Kakao Corporation has been arrested amid accusations of market manipulation. An Sang-jin has more.
An arrest warrant has been issued for Kim Beom-soo, the founder of Kakao Corporation, over allegations of stock manipulation. After a near 4-hour interrogation at the Seoul Southern District Court on Monday, the court issued a warrant at around 1 a.m. on Tuesday. Kim remained silent when asked about whether he admits any wrongdoing. The allegations of stock manipulation come in connection with the acquisition of SM Entertainment in February last year. Kim is alleged to have manipulated SM Entertainment stock prices to prevent a public takeover by Hive, a competitor also looking to acquire SM Entertainment. Stock prices were set and fixed above Hive's bid of 120,000 won per share, with SM stocks bought through more than 550 purchases using a private equity fund named One Asia Partners, which allegedly injected around 240 billion won or $170 million. Kim had previously strongly denied these allegations and stated that it's unfortunate for such allegations to rise at a time when the company is working together for corporate reform. He stated that he approved of the purchase but was unaware of the exact process. With the warrant, Kim can be arrested for up to 20 days. The prosecutor's office will be questioning Kim on whether he directly interfered. Kakao's investment division director as well as the CEO of the private equity fund will also be going to court. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
In line with the globe's green campaign, researchers here are testing a new way of producing electricity from agricultural waste. Let's take a look.
Put spent mushrooms into an industrial pressure cooker. Steam it for 15 minutes to make the residue easily deform when lowering the pressure. This process converts agricultural waste into solid biomass fuel that can be used in thermal power plants. A team researching this process used non-edible waste, such as rice straw, as a source. This is a newly developed technology that uses wet steam to make biofuel, while the existing process is based on heating and drying. The new method decreases energy consumption and the rate of energy loss from the source by lowering the reaction temperature by 100 degrees Celsius during the process.
Torrefaction technology based on blasting that we use needs rock beer chips, which do not need a drying process.
While various renewable energy research is underway in the middle of the climate change crisis, biorefineries that produce fuel from biomass are receiving attention. When biomass is used for thermal power generation, it is beneficial because of its sustainability and its reduction of environmental pollutants produced. There has been criticism of using food resources such as corn, which is an edible biomass, as an energy resource. Wood pellets used as biomass fuel in South Korea are mostly imported from Southeast Asia. However, the newly developed technology utilizes agricultural waste and even lowers the expense and carbon dioxide emissions.
We expect that this technology will allow us to have a great effect on cutting carbon dioxide emission and incurred expense during the transport process, as the technology makes these % higher energy density, which reduces the volume of the energy resource.
The research team has plans to expand the scope of utilization to aircraft fuel or biomedicine through follow-up studies.
BTS member Jimin's second solo album, Muse, has garnered praise among multiple foreign music outlets. On Tuesday, his agency Big Hit Music stated that Grammys introduced his music as bolder and more confident, and added that Jimin is certainly a source of inspiration for many. Another American music media, Consequence of Sound, stated that Jimin has a fascinating presence on stage as he performs various dance genres with his own color. This comes as a remix version was also released on Tuesday, which includes acoustic, rock, and other variations of the lead-up song, Who. His second solo project comes nearly a year and a half after his debut solo album, Face. In sports news, Tottenham Hotspur has kicked off his tour of Asia. A squad of 31 players, including Son Heung-min, are traveling for the pre-season tour of South Korea and Japan. According to club authorities, Rodrigo Bentancur, who recently offered a public apology for a racist remark targeting Son, is not on the squad. In Japan, the Spurs will play J1 League champions Vissel Kobe this coming Saturday, and then travel to Korea, where a match against Team K-League is scheduled for next Wednesday. And then Bayern Munich next Saturday, that is August 3rd, as part of the Kupang Play series.
Strong rain is possible in the Seoul metropolitan area in Gangwon-do province again tonight. By tomorrow morning, there will be 30 to 80 millimeters of more rain in the Seoul metropolitan area and western Gangwon-do province, and up to 40 to 50 more in the Chungcheong-do provinces. The heatwave warning has been expanded to the southern parts of Gyeonggi-do province, the east coast of Gangwon-do province, and southern parts of Chungcheong-do provinces. In particular, feels like temperatures will exceed 35 degrees Celsius in places where heatwave warnings have been issued. Tomorrow morning will be very similar to today. Most areas will start off at least 24 degrees. Highs will move up to 30 degrees in Seoul and Busan, Daegu, Gyeongju, and Jeju, 34 degrees. On Thursday, it will rain on Jeju Island. It will rain on the south coast and Jeju Island on Friday from time to time. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Arirang News will be back at 9 a.m. Korea time.